Hi everybody, and welcome to my show, The Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. This is Oberon with TFT, Tarot for Today, and it's a weekly program that looks at the kind of emotional energies that are going on that you're exchanging with others or experiences. So I'm always changing the format somewhat. And today's no exception. I've decided to just really strip it down into what is your best emotional encounter for this week ahead, and then what is your most challenging encounter. And the reading is for the 12 signs of the Zodiac. So we're going to start at the beginning of the Zodiac with Aries. And these readings are intended to be sun, moon, or rising. All right, Aries, what is going to be the best emotional exchange you have this week? And it's the Seven of Wands. And the best exchange is being able to stand up for your rights, for what you believe, especially if it's concerning, emotionally where you're at, or, sensually, etc., who you choose, the person you want to be with, that kind of thing. So from the bottom of the deck will be the next one, which will be what is the most challenging emotional exchange you might have this week. And it's the reverse Ten of Cups. And this could be saying that, there's a default thing happening in your foundation, in your family sector. There may be some sense of unhappiness, or maybe there's something that's causing, negativity or bad feelings between people in the unit. And so you may have to really tread very carefully with, what's going on with that and what your actual exchange may be. Okay, we're going to move on to Taurus. Sun, whoa, always something here. Sun, moon, and rising. Sun, moon, or rising. That could be and. All right, so what is the best emotional exchange you have this week? It's the reverse Nine of Swords. And maybe you're pulling yourself away from some anxiety, some sleepless nights, some feelings like everything's in turmoil and you can't handle it anymore, but you're turning away from that. And a large part of that might be that you're setting boundaries. Boundaries may have a lot to do with this card, this position here, exactly who gets, to cause you that kind of grief in a way. So now from the bottom, what is your most challenging emotional exchange this week? And I don't know, maybe it's in the stars, but you too have the reversed Ten of Cups. And so you too may find that there's, emotional brouhaha going on in your family or unit. People are not feeling the love for some reason right now, or maybe things are really stirring things. I mean, it could be anything. Sometimes we'll let a new person start, being involved in our family, and then maybe that could be causing that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as an idea. It did kind of hit me. And, I understand Tauruses, they can be a little bit proprietary, because I'm the other side of Taurus, Scorpio. So I feel that way myself sometimes. All right, so we're going to move on to Gemini. Sun, moon, or rising. Gemini, what is your best emotional exchange this week? And you're realizing maybe that there's something going on that you need to understand better or to find out more about. The realization may be that maybe it's not always gossip, but something secretive could be going on, or something that you haven't been able to figure out, or is possibly being kept hidden from you. And so the best encounter could be that maybe something will start to chip away at that maybe you'll start to realize what's going on with that moon influence there. Now, from the bottom, what is your most challenging? And of course, for you, the challenge with the Seven of Wands would be that maybe it could be anything. I mean, no matter where you're at with, how you want to be perceived publicly, this card says that you find yourself in a position where you have to be a little bit more defensive or protective of, people you care about, or people you're involved with in situations, or the stances you take or believe in. All right, Gemini. And we're ready for Cancer then. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Cancer, what is your best emotional exchange this week? I don't know why. It's come up again. Your best emotional exchange, Cancer, is putting it on the line, is saying, you approve, you are standing for freedom of expression or freedom of belief. You're putting yourself where you feel like you have to say, I don't approve of being challenged this way, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, so what is your most challenging emotional exchange? It's the Magician, and so you maybe are challenged because you're really going to have to, I don't think it's in relationship to the other card, but something's going to make you really have to put it on the line with your willpower, that you may be having to, lay down the line in certain ways through willpower by saying, this is what, you expect. But it could be about, what you're doing with an emotional situation where maybe you have to do some magic too. I mean, maybe you have to find the way to make something happen emotionally. So it almost sounds, it just sounds like, you're busy. I guess I'll just say it that way. All right, I kind of lost my words there. We're going to move on to Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And Leo, what is your best emotional exchange? It seems to me like you're learning how to handle some difficult or possibly difficult interactions where maybe boundaries are being set. I know I've said that recently too, but that maybe this is saying that from this particular context, Leo, you need to establish being in charge here. And I think that's really what it is. You're not necessarily negotiating emotional terrain, but you are probably establishing where you're really at with that. And that's your good exchange. I mean, it could also mean the other thing too, that's your best exchange too, is negotiating where each of you stand. Now, what is your most challenging emotional exchange? And it's justice. So trying to be fair, trying to make informed and positive decisions may be really hard. Maybe it has something to do with that situation, but usually these are different situations. And this could be saying moving on from that, though, somehow. You find you have to really keep a balance going too, and that it could possibly indicate that there's, something about another level where this might have to go, beyond you from the personal somewhere else. All right, we'll move on to Virgo now. Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Virgo, what is your best exchange this week? That's the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles could be saying that your best exchange this week, emotionally speaking, is when you find yourself being able to help others. Some of that is about direct care kind of situations where maybe you're just being hospitable and helpful to somebody, or giving, some extra amount of work if necessary. But another thing about the Queen of Pentacles too could be saying that they're really trying to keep things moving smoothly. They sort of are tasked with a maintenance aspect too. And so I don't think it's the strongest aspect, but I'm just thinking that from an emotional point of view, your best exchange really will be trying to keep the wheels moving in a very good way. And I take the next card from the bottom of the deck, and it represents your more challenging emotional exchange. And you could be dealing with a situation where somebody's very righteous, or somebody feels like there's really only one, and it's very conventional, or it's very societal, hierarchical kind of way of looking at things. And so this could refer possibly to, people who are in, non-traditional relationships of any sort. Just sometimes living with somebody's considered non-traditional to somebody else. All right, that was Virgo, so we're going to move on to Libra then, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Libra, what is your best exchange? And it may be turning the tables or finding out what somebody's been trying to hide or what somebody's been working at behind your back. And so from an emotional point of view, this could be saying that, maybe if there's somebody that's been trying to deceive you in a certain way emotionally, you may be finding out about it. Especially if it's a very proactive kind of sense of deceiving you. So that could be any number of things, from the obvious to the not so obvious. From the bottom of the deck, what is your most challenging? And it's kind of ironic. I just had to go back to that. It's like finding out that maybe somebody's cheating on you or somebody's doing something nefarious, emotionally speaking, is a good exchange. But I guess so. It just depends on how you look on it. Like maybe it was important to reveal that. Now, what is your most challenging situation? And it may be trying to figure out if you can get away from something that's been limiting you. You may find that maybe emotionally speaking, you're sort of feeling beholden to taking a deferred position with something. Like maybe you're accepting limitations on you emotionally or, in some respect. And that's going to be challenging, maybe depending on, who that is or what your actual relationship is. Good luck, Libra. All right, so then we are now on Scorpio. Scorpio. Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Scorpio, what is your best emotional exchange this week? And it's the star. So the star says maybe something you really have dreamed about, maybe something you feel you've always been destined to receive, or something you've expected, really hopeful to happen. And then maybe you find that, that's what it is, that it feels like it just really was something you've been waiting for so long, and now it's, so magnified. So what is your most challenging emotional exchange? And it's the reverse Seven of Pentacles. And the reverse Seven of Pentacles, I think, is saying that maybe there's something else going on where you might have to accept the way it's going. It may not be moving exactly in the direction you want it to. So I'm maybe talking about your emotional relationships with somebody. Maybe it's a friend you thought you were becoming more special with, or maybe it's some other situation emotionally, but it's probably not really going the way that you thought or that you intended for it to go. And so that will be a challenge for you, coming to terms with that, or how you deal. All right, we'll move on to Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Sagittarius, what is your best emotional exchange this week? Well, I don't know, I riffle those cards and cut them and everything, but you also got the reversed Seven of Pentacles. And so from your standpoint, the best encounter you have is that maybe things are going better for you. Things are growing the way that you thought they are. Rather than things just not moving at all, things are moving. So that's your good encounter, your good exchange. What is your challenging situation? And once again, it's the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords, as a challenging card, says that you feel like something's holding you back, or you feel yourself is holding yourself back, really. And so you're trying to figure out what you can do to do that. It should be, to get out of that, it should be obvious that somehow, there's, I mean, we're not counselors here, but you might have to talk to somebody about, esteem issues, perhaps, Sagittarius, or something else that feels like maybe this is just this time right now that something isn't quite working for you emotionally. We're going to move on to Capricorn then. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Capricorn, what is your best emotional exchange this week? And you hit the jackpot in a way. It's the Two of Cups, and with the Two of Cups, you can expect that maybe some relationship you're in now, or when you're hoping to happen, really ends up being really harmonious and trustworthy, and you feel like you're blossoming there, or you're just really where you need to be, like you're just growing in this circumstance. What will be the most challenging exchange? It's the Ten of Cups. And so Capricorn, you might have to change how you feel about yourself in this relationship, because maybe there are other aspects. It's not necessarily that it's like a blended relationship and they come with extra people involved, children or other people involved, in them as a household. But it could be something like that. But I'm wondering just if it just says in general for Capricorns that there is something about changing your sense of your status quo that will be challenging to you, as you, move to one status of a relationship or situation to a completely different one. That's what it seems like. So we're going to move on to Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And Aquarius, what is your best emotional exchange? And it's the reverse Queen of Swords. And so your best exchange, it looks like really you just get to tell somebody, no, I'm doing this my way or the highway. And maybe you're saying also too that you are willing, to accept whatever consequences there may be, but maybe in a way you sort of feel a little haughty here. I mean, this is your best emotional exchange is kind of like saying you don't really care what happens with something that you've been trying to make happen because you really are very confident. I mean, I was groping for something, but that's what it is that your sense of confidence overshines any possible consequences you might be feeling from what's going on with that. It's a good thing for you. So what is the most challenging emotional exchange? And it's reversed Eight of Cups. And so what may be challenging is that you're not really ready in some other regard. I don't believe it's that one with the Queen there, but you're not really ready to move to a better situation right now. Something is still not quite ready for you. You're not able to follow your dream. You are not able to follow your dream. And you may have to decide that, your dream has to change. All right, so now we move on to Pisces. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Pisces, what is your best emotional exchange? It's the Five of Pentacles reversed. The Five of Pentacles reversed. Your best emotional exchange is you're finding that maybe you're not as alone as you thought you were in some regard. You might be feeling like you were left at the altar, or that somehow you were disincluded in something that you felt really strong about emotionally, but maybe you're going to find that's not really true, and that maybe there was a reason why you felt isolated, but you will be no more under that, situation. Now, what will be challenging for you in this week is maybe the sense of having released certain burdens, what really will be established as in terms of getting better or feeling like, an obligation has been lifted from you. Is that all that was necessary? You might question that. On the other hand, maybe it's just in the getting there, that what challenges you is how you figure out how to release these burdens and obligations. All right, thank you, everybody. That was the emotional exchanges. We will see you live tomorrow morning for happy hour, and that's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll also see you in our chat room Sunday morning for the premiere of Banshee's Material Matters. It's a recorded show, pretty much like this for the 12 signs of the Zodiac, about your finance, education, and business centers. But it's recorded, so we're just live in the chat room, so you can chat with us there. And she will illuminate the reading a little bit more, and we like to gab with you guys, our tarot tribe. Then later on Sunday afternoon, we are live streaming to answer regular questions from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get there early. This one tends to get full early. We can only do so many readings in 2 hours, so if you're not in that initial, I think it's 14 or 15. Maybe it's slightly waggles there. Well, it won't work out for you, so we're sorry about that. Anyway, join me next week once again for my emotional exchanges. I'll see you then.